Hello and welcome to 3D modeling video number 97. In this video we'll model this piece right here, which is from the front of a vending machine, where you can insert money and maybe press this to get your fruit or drink or snack or whatever it is that's in the vending machine. So if you want to have these corners right here, one of the things you have to be careful for is that, let's say that I start with a plane, and I'm going to go ahead and move the reference down just a little bit. So if you start with a plane, how do you get this curve? Well, one of the ways you can get the curve is simply by using the cut tool, for example, or inserting some edges here, and then simply moving the vertices until you get the desired curve. However, one thing that this prevents is consistency. What if you want the same exact curve on the top here and over here and over here? If you do this method, you have to do the curve yourself each time, which is possible. But one other way we can do this is we can start with a cylinder, for example. And you can give yourself a 16-sided or an 8-sided cylinder, maybe 12-sided. I'm just going to go ahead and have this one off to the side. Or I can give it, let's go ahead and give it to maybe 16 cylinders. And this way, once I go ahead and delete the top and side faces and flip the face, we will have a consistent edge here. So then you can modify this however you would like to get your desired edge, and then you can duplicate this around and you'll get the same edge here. So let me go ahead and give you an example. Just go ahead and cut here, making sure I'm working with all quads, and cut here as well. Now go ahead and Control I and delete. So here we have an edge, and I can go ahead and maybe scale it down a little bit, about right here. And then what I can do then is I can simply duplicate this all around, and I will have the same curve everywhere. So I can have precision and consistency on my geometry. And what I can do now is just select this and bridge it. So I don't have to worry about doing this. I don't have to worry about rotating it and getting it right each time. I can just duplicate these polygons all around, and I can have the same curve around my model. However, in this case, the curves are different. So this one is much larger, but maybe we can take this and rotate it and maybe scale it to have it match here. I'm going to go ahead and press F2. And maybe I can scale it to kind of match this curve right here. So I can get creative. So what I'll do first of all is I'll go ahead and create all the corners using the same 1/4 of a cylinder. And actually, let me go ahead and get this one right here. And all I have to do is make sure that angle snap is on, and I can just rotate it all around here to have consistency. And in this case, I'll have to probably scale it down a little bit. But I can have a perfect slice of a cylinder. So I know this right here is perfectly round because I started with a cylinder. Right, like that. Now I can go ahead and switch to my edge mode and just extrude it out. And here they're not quite matching up, so I think I have to go ahead and maybe lower this down a little bit. And go ahead and insert a loop through here, and now they will match up a lot better, like so. And I'm not too concerned about topology at this point, but having good topology will make modeling this a lot easier. So you want to pay some attention to topology in your beginning phases. And I'll go ahead and copy it right here. And once again, I can maybe insert a loop through here. And this is going to make connecting them a lot easier. Like so. Alright, so now we've got the outer edge. And I can go ahead and just bridge, insert some control loops, or insert some more loops just to make sure everything connects together well. Alright. And so we've got a number of issues to deal with here. We got this piece here, this piece here. So I'm just trying to figure out what the best way to do this is. So let's go ahead and take this cylinder, bring it back here. Let's create this handle here. Let's go ahead and decrease the radius and just try and match it up. So once again, I'll go ahead and select the top polygon, grow, delete, flip the face, maybe inset. Alright, and now I'll go and simply take this and I'll move this out. So now first, in this kind of situation, we can see, let's go ahead and isolate this so we can see what's happening here. We have the handle, but we also have some cuts here, some geometry being removed here and here. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and first model this handle, and we're going to make sure that we have edges here. Then we'll go ahead and extrude that. So first of all, let me go ahead and close the gap here. The constraint to edge tool is also quite useful here. Alright, as for what we'll do here, we do have a quad here, but it's not quite a good quad. So you can choose to fix this if you want. Like so, for example. And now we have it happening over here, and now we can maybe leave this alone for now. Now we need to focus on this piece right here. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and first of all get this hole here. Right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and make a few cuts here. So sometimes you just have to spend a little bit of time working out the topology here. It can be a little bit tricky at first, but soon we become pretty good at it. Alright, something like this. Alright, so as of right now, the object is still flat. It's still just a simple plane. Alright, we also want to go ahead and create this little, a slight kind of slice here. So we'll just go ahead and make a very slight slice here and connect. Alright, now what we'll do is, actually one thing I should have done right away is remove the excess reference image here, so I'll go ahead and Control I and delete that. This is going to make things simpler. I can also make another copy under here to look at here while I work with this, for example. Alright, so what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and apply show modifier. Let's give it something maybe like 5, maybe 3. And then, thanks to these edges, the next step is simple. I'll just go ahead and use the bi-angle feature to select the top. I'll go ahead and deselect, turn off the bi-angle feature, deselect this, deselect this, deselect this, and now I'll go ahead and bevel. Increase the outline amount a little bit, and there we go. Of course, it's not perfect yet, but because of our technique, it's a lot easier. So we start out flat, we get all the edges in the correct place, we shell, then we bevel to create this kind of effect. Of course, we still need to go in and just fix up a few little things here, but that is a good way of getting these kinds of shapes and these kinds of shapes. But let's go ahead and test out what the Turbo Smooth looks like. Alright, it's looking pretty close. Just need to go ahead and add a few control loops here. Make this quads if you like. Alright, you can make this a little bit sharper, just spend a little bit more time matching it, but you're already pretty close. Alright, we do have a triangle here, but it's on a flat surface, so it's not really a big problem here. Alright, and it's looking pretty good here. We can also maybe insert some control loops here. And maybe just spend a little bit more time working on the topology here to make it match a little bit better. So you can spend a little bit more time on this. I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the next piece. Of course, if I was making this professionally, I would go ahead and spend a little bit more time on this area here. Alright, let's go ahead and take care of this part now. So this is, it looks like half a sphere. It looks like an indentation. So let's go ahead and actually start with a sphere. And let's go ahead and just delete top half, clear all the smoothing groups, flip it, get my gray material here. And now what I can do is maybe scale it. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Scale it like this maybe. Alright, now I can go ahead and position it. Just go ahead and make a clone of this, just so we can have the original here. Go ahead and scale it so that it matches the reference. Alright, about right here. Let's go ahead and get this. Alright. Now we can go ahead and just... I actually think this cylinder is a little bit too dense, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and select an edge here, go to my graphite modeling tools, and use this tool right here, dot ring. That will select every other edge by default. I'll go ahead and loop and remove. And I'm asking myself if I want to do this one more time. This might be a little bit too simple, so let's just go ahead and go with this. Alright, now we need to go ahead and spend some time getting the geometry to match here. So let's go ahead and attach it, and let's begin creating the appropriate geometry and bridging it here. Actually, before I do this, let me go ahead and first create a control loop around here. And now I can go ahead and begin bridging. Alright, we can go ahead and leave this for now. Let's work on... Actually, we can go ahead and finish this up. Let me go ahead and move the reference lower. Alright, so what's basically happening here is that part of the mesh is plastic right here, and we have metal right here. So I'll go ahead and go on my top viewport, and I'll go ahead and insert a loop. Let me go ahead and adjust this a little bit more. Alright, insert a loop through here. Now I'll go ahead and select these polygons here, and I'll go ahead and detach this. Actually, first of all, I'll go ahead and select this and chamfer. Bevel this out here. Alright, now I'll go ahead and delete. And I'll go ahead and select these two edges here. Loop. Extrude it downwards. Now I can go ahead and switch to element and simply detach this. So now if I want, I can have multiple materials. I can go ahead and make a plastic material here. And give this the plastic material here. And I can have a different material here with the metal. Let's create this slot here. So you can see this reference image is not at a perfect angle. It's a little bit skewed here. So you can create this multiple ways. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and simply create a box right here. Make sure it's got the same material. I'll go ahead and increase its height. Move it right down here. I'll go ahead and make a clone just in case something goes wrong. And I'll go ahead and use compound objects Boolean subtract to go ahead and subtract from here. I got this result here. Alright, now I can work with symmetry, so what I can do is simply remove the left side, remove the bottom side. Create the symmetry. I go ahead and select, copy this Y value, paste it right here, and copy this X value, paste it right here. There we go. Turbo smooth. Maybe add, not sure what this is doing all the way over here, but this doesn't matter because once we apply symmetry, it's going to go right here. Maybe add one more control loop here. There we go. And then you can do something else here. You can maybe perhaps just select these polygons, detach it, and maybe you can just go ahead and give this a black material. So we can have some darkness here. Alright. Next, we need to go ahead and model this part right here. So let's go ahead and figure out how we're going to do that. Might be a good idea to use the cut tool. So, or maybe we can just go ahead and maybe just start with some basic extruding. So this is another way of doing it. You don't always have to use the cut tool. You can always just extrude edges to get the curvature that you want, that you need. go ahead and delete this for now. I'm going to bring it back later when we retopologize. Alright, there we go. Now I can go ahead and select all this and maybe move it down a little bit. And now I can go ahead and bring back this piece right here. So we need to make sure that this goes below this piece. Actually, maybe we need to go ahead and bring this piece down. Alright, now one thing that we need to do, it's going to get a little bit tricky in here because we need to create all these edges here. As you can see, it's not just a simple beveling effect. It's got a little bit more complex things happening here. So we need to go ahead and do that somehow.